Hola gang, and welcome again to Old Nerd Reviews. I'm Tony, I'm your old nerd of the day. And I try things so you don't have to. We are live today, and we have a special guest from the BroBryceHealth channel, Mr. Bryce L. Tomlinson. This guy, I've known him for years. He is my best friend. And hey, Ryan, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. He is my best friend, and from the time I've known him, he's been a pretty healthy looking guy. And within the last year, I would say, he like went and lost a ton of weight. And he's on this really interesting diet. So what he's going to do for us today is we're going to gab, we're going to drink some coffee, or in my case, right now, a super big gulp of Dr. Pepper. And yeah, he's going to cook healthy stuff, and I'm going to drink Dr. Pepper. See how that works? Okay, so anyway, I want to show you first of all how Bryce looked. That is Bryce by himself in his healthiest of days. And then next to him is him in 2013 and him now. Can you tell a difference? I think that you can. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut away. And there's Mr. Bryce in his home,
Good day.
coming to us via Skype.
How are
So,
you?
I'm peachy. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper and watching you make healthy stuff.
And I'm drinking a rock star as well.
Oh, so we're both on the same page. Awesome.
But that's not quite enough for me. I'm gonna start up some bulletproof coffee. So
Sweet. Okay, so tell everybody a little bit about your backstory and what your channel, BroBryce Health, is about and whatever else you want to say.
well, originally I started out my channel, BroBryce Health. I think when I first started out, I was 270 pounds, and just a little before that, I was 282 pounds. I think and when I first started out, I was my doctor.
Gotta mute that. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I had gone to my doctor, and the doctor had said, "Well, your blood pressure is really high, and your triglycerides are really high, and your cholesterol is out of control, and we're going to put you on a statin." And at the time,
what's a statin?
A statin is a drug that they're typically prescribed for anybody who has high cholesterol. And lately, there's been the controversial decision to say that anybody's over 40 should have statins as a precaution, and which is just ridiculous. So the downside to statins is that, well, the upside to statins is that they lower your cholesterol. The downside to statins is that they lower your cholesterol. And over the next couple of months, I started doing a little more research, and I said to my doctor, since I'm not going to take the statins, what is plan B? He said, well, there's not really a plan B with your triglycerides and your cholesterol the way that they are. You're definitely going to have a stroke or a heart attack pretty much any minute now. And so I said, well, how about I do this instead? I'm really going to stick to my guns. I'm going to try to do some exercise, and I'm going to lower my carbohydrates, and we'll see what happens. And I really didn't know, back in the 90s, the late 90s and the early 2000s, I had studied a little bit of the Atkins, and I read the Atkins book, and I had followed the Atkins diet to the letter, but I really didn't know the science behind it. I kind of just followed the instructions and lowered my carbohydrates, and I lost a little bit of weight, and I was doing really good for a few years, but I really didn't know the science behind it. And so in this couple of months' time, between the time that my doctor prescribed me the statins and the time that he did my blood work again, I just lowered my carbohydrates and just kind of watched a few things. And I had joined a group on Facebook called Keto Adaptation, which is run by a really great lady named Lynn Borzillo. And she's super knowledgeable. She's got a crew of admins over there on Facebook that really know their stuff. And I just started learning and absorbing stuff. Well, just in that first couple months, I really didn't know a whole lot, but I lowered my carbohydrates and I started increasing my fats. And I dropped my triglycerides from 382 down to around 80.
That's
And
crazy.
2 months, and he said, what are you doing again? And I brought in a printout of my daily menu, and he just kind of laughed at what I was eating. And he says, well, I'm just really concerned about the amount of fat that you're taking in. I said, really? I said, why? And he said, well, because it's linked to heart disease. I says, it's linked, but it doesn't cause it. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, the correlation doesn't mean causation, and so it's important to know the difference between correlation and causation. And anyway, my doctor was just parroting all the stuff that everyone's ever told you about fats. And so my channel started out being about, like, I wanted to diet and exercise. And it eventually kind of ended up being more like my journey in debunking bad science and how I lost, I went from being 282 pounds to now being 197 pounds. And I
Bad
go back and forth.
science.
I might have 10 pounds give or take here and there. And that's normal. That's a normal thing for people to gain 10 pounds or lose 10 pounds. That's a normal thing. For them to accumulate and struggle with the weight for the rest of their life, that's not normal. And so I'm just trying to get past all of the nonsense of fat phobia and determining, bad science. Like, people say that carbohydrate is an essential nutrient, and that's just completely bunk. There's nothing to do with anything. Anyway, so this is supposed to be a lunch cast, right?
Yeah.
All right.
We're making some lunch.
That's
And I
right.
noticed you took your wonderful little tinfoil decoration down from the.
No, it's still right there. It's right.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
it's out of screen, so we
Oh,
can't see it.
cool. Okay. Well, I'm
And
gonna.
Bryce is coming to us from the lovely. Is it snowy there?
No, not yet. It's supposed to snow tonight.
The not yet snowy Reno, Nevada.
I'm gonna start out just by snacking on some stuff, and I'm gonna just tell you right now that I
So
eat
this
a.
isn't going to be an ASMR video or anything. You're not going to be like smacking in our ears, are you? Stop it! You're creeping me out. Stop it!
I'm just gonna be snacking on some peanut butter and cheese. I know you go to the store and you buy these like little cheese peanut butter cracker snack packs, and well, I just take the cheese and put peanut butter on it. And I will say that some low carb, high fat purists would probably say that peanut butter is not the butter of choice, but
The butter of choice.
there's some people that say peanuts are inflammatory, and I'm not going to debate that, but I eat a lot better than I used to, and I think that a lot of people, if they could take a step in the right direction, that's the right thing to do, rather than just have to be a purist. Eventually, you might end up being a purist, and eventually, I might end up being a purist, but right now, I'm not.
Now, I remember before, now correct me if I'm wrong, but before you started this diet, I remember going out with you to places like Wendy's, and you would take the bun off. You would eat everything but the bun. It
Right,
was just really friggin' weird. You would wrap it in your lettuce or something like that and eat nothing but the bun, but it didn't seem to be going anywhere.
right, yeah, because I really didn't have the whole thing down. I knew that carbohydrates don't agree with me that well. So even when I wasn't losing weight, eating things like bread would make me feel bloaty,
Hmm.
and milk would make me feel bloaty.
Hmm.
And I didn't really understand a lot of the science. What I needed to do was not just cut out the carbs, but up my fat intake. And whereas a lot of people will say that a high fat diet is going to be very high in calories.
Yeah, I mean that's totally contrary to what most people say. It's just like they're watching their calories, they're watching their fat, they're watching their sodium, and all this other stuff. And it's just like there's a lot of those things that you watch, but you watch them as they stay up there,
Yeah.
right through
And,
the roof.
and the
Well,
real
maybe
point,
not through the roof, but
the real point to it is that fat is very satisfying. And so if I upped my fats, the truth is I would probably be eating less calories in a day than a regular person because fat is satisfying for much longer.
mm,
And so now, like today, this meal that you're going to watch me eat today, or meal slash, I don't know, binge, whatever you want to call it, is probably the only meal I'll have all day.
wow.
And like I didn't eat breakfast this morning and I feel great. And I'm going to eat lunch and I love food. So this is going to be awesome. And I'm going to enjoy it a lot. And then I'm probably not going to be hungry the rest of the day. I just won't be hungry. And
Yep,
and
that's
a
cool.
year and a half ago, I could have never imagined this. Me and you, we'd go out, like every few hours and go get something else to eat, right?
Yep, that
Um,
was the program.
right.
Okay, so what are you gonna make first?
I am.
What are you gonna make today? We're probably gonna be here like maybe till 1:30 at the latest, and Bryce is gonna cram all this wonderful stuff in there. So what are you
Right.
gonna make?
So I've made these English muffins, and I'm going to ask Tony to post the link to this recipe for these English muffins.
I
I
can do
modified the
that.
recipe a little bit, and I took the coconut flour and replaced it with flaxseed because I like something a little heartier, and
Where
I'm
is the muffins link?
I'm conscious of my omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. You want to have your omega-6 to 3 ratio as close to one as possible. That's a great indicator of how much inflammation you can expect to have. They show that people who have like a crazy ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 typically will have more proneness to neurological disorders and autoimmune disorders. So I'm going to take that English muffin, slice it in half, and stick it in the toaster oven for a few minutes.
You do
And
that.
while that's happening here, I'm a big fan of butter, not margarine,
Who isn't?
not spread.
If
This
you
is
think
butter.
it's butter, but it's not. It's
And
chiffon.
again, and I'll refer to this a lot, purists will say that grass-fed butter is better. And I'm going to say that it probably is. It
Why,
is.
why why are you feeding butter to or grass to butter? I mean, I didn't even think butter had a mouth. What's up with that? Is this
Grass
something new?
grass-fed cows have less inflammation than grain-fed cows.
Oh, the cows. Gotcha.
And so you end up with butter that has higher omega-6 in it, and you end up with other things. You might have hormones or something in it. I'm just going to nuke that butter for 30 seconds because we're going to melt that and stick it on my English muffin because I don't like to have the hard butter smash my bread.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Zoanna is the only one who gets the butter. I get the big tubs of spreadable margarine. And
That
I know
stuff
that's
is so
horrible.
vile and so bad for you.
What?
That stuff is so vile and bad
I
for
know.
you.
I know it is, but butter is so freaking expensive. It's just like, everybody tell me how I'm supposed to eat and crap like that when a salad is $7 and a burger is $1. Just shut up.
Well, you know how you make a salad not $7 is you go to Costco and you buy a big bag of kale and you
Yeah.
buy a big bag of romaine and you buy a big bag of broccoli and you make it at home. That's how you.
What we usually get is this bag, this medium-sized bag of an Asian salad mix. So we'll
Mhm.
get that, and I'll buy some pot stickers like from the dollar store now that I know they have the friggin' 13 pot stickers for $1 that are really good, or I'll buy some egg rolls And we'll have, we'll mix up that Asian salad and have either egg rolls or pot stickers and call it a meal. It's really good.
So while that thing's cooking in there, I still got a couple minutes. I'm kind of getting started on my deviled eggs. So I'm a lazy man. Lazy man's deviled eggs. I'm using Wilcox organic hard-boiled eggs that I get from Costco. I think you can find these at Safeway and other markets now.
So you don't boil them yourself. You buy them.
The truth is, though, the thing is, when we buy these at Costco, the package of these costs about the same as if you were to buy just organic eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And so figure if we can buy them for the same price as regular organic eggs and they're already hard boiled, it makes it real easy to have a snack when you want it. So I'm just going to cut these in half.
Okay. Ryan says, "Yay for dollar store stuff." Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm just cutting the eggs in half like I'm too lazy to want to boil them myself. I'm done with this peanut butter. And
I've got this little machine that I'm going to be reviewing pretty soon. This little round machine with a little hood, and what it does is it boils eggs and it makes poached eggs and it makes little omelets and stuff. And it's just a little cool thing. It's kind of like something like you'd see on as on TV store item or something like that, made for TV, whatever it's called, as seen on TV. There you go.
For my sandwich, my low-carb sandwich, I'm going to have this luncheon meat. I'm very clear to say luncheon meat because it's basically Spam, but it's the name.
Oh, the great value.
Brand. But the one thing that I noticed, I went to the store and bought this today, so I could tell you what was the difference between the name brand Spam and luncheon meat is that in the ingredients, all the rest of the ingredients are the same: pork, salt, water, sugar, and sodium nitrate. There's not much sugar in it. It's a very minuscule amount of sugar that they cure this in. But the Spam itself has modified potato starch in it. And
see, I've always liked the off-brand
sugar. Starch turns to sugar, so I avoid starches.
I mean, just like we talked about yesterday, I've always liked the off-brand more, and I don't think I've had the great value. Usually anymore, I avoid great value stuff because great value stuff, more often than not, turns out really to be icky stuff. But I do buy my Spam, my Spam offshoot at Winco, and I mean, first of all, you notice because it's less expensive. Secondly, there is less sodium, or at least it tastes less salty. Spam is really freaking salty.
It is
incredible.
Well, they have the light versions, but they cost more.
And that's almost too much for me. I love salt, but that's just too much.
So I'm taking my Spam and I'm gonna cover it with a wet paper towel. Because most of the plastic lids that you use on these things are not microwavable, but I'm just going to put it in there for like a minute, and you'll see what I'm going to do to it next. But
I do that on my rice. If I need to reheat rice, I actually put a video out about it over on the Everyday Solutions channel. Easy Everyday Solutions.
A little bit of water right in the rice if I was doing that.
Oh, okay. Well, what I usually do in order to reheat it, otherwise it's just chunky and crumbly, is I take and I wet a paper towel and I put it over the rice. I make sure it's touching the rice, and then I put it in the nuker, and it's just as fluffy as when I first made it. It's really good. Turns out good. I do it all the time now.
I'm going to put some butter on here, on my English muffin for my sandwich here.
Now, are you going to give me the recipes for this? Send me the recipes for this so I can go ahead and put it on the website?
I sent the recipe for the 3-minute paleo English muffin from Primal Bites, but I also have a video that I've already shot that I got to edit down of making English muffin.
When you have a chance after this is all over, just go ahead and send all that stuff to me, and I'll post it to the website oldnerdreviews.com.
Well, the link is in your Skype.
Okay, that's cool.
And
yeah, it really is cool, Ryan. Like I said, just just wet a paper towel and put it over the rice. Make sure it's touching the rice, and then just go ahead and reheat it like you normally would. You can reheat it on high or use a reheat setting, and the rice comes out just as good as when you first made it.
Well,
Works.
this one too, the paper towel, it lays nicely over the bowl and it kind of seals it a little bit so that the grease doesn't have anywhere to go.
That's a very attractive paper towel, I must say.
Yes. So I'm just gonna set that aside for a second. I've got some mayonnaise. And I
Mayonnaise.
put butter on it first, and now I'm adding mayonnaise. So when I say high fat, I'm really talking about laying on the fat. This is just mayo, and I use this because it's organic, but I would rather use homemade mayonnaise at any
Oh, okay.
time. Most mayonnaise is made with like canola oil or safflower oil.
Now
Um,
that Sir Kensington's that I have, that has avocado oil in it. Is really freaking good.
I
It's
have to say,
expensive though.
avocado mayonnaise is the best, and
It's really tasty.
I make my mayonnaise out of avocado oil, and Dijon mustard, and oh my goodness, it's so good. So I
Nice.
put about a tablespoon of mayonnaise on each side, and then I'll put my spam on here, and now I'm going to dress it up a little bit. I've got some Tabasco.
Ooh.
Throwing a little Tabasco on here.
Where's your Frank's Red Hot, man?
I've got my I keep that on hand, but I'm using some sriracha here.
See, now Bryce turned me on to Frank's Red Hot. I never ever tasted the stuff before, and he
I've got
brought it
this.
on a trip that we had, and it was so good. I love it. I buy it all the time.
I've also got this habanero, this premium habanero hot sauce that I got at the Reno Rib Cook-Off.
Show that close up. I want to see it. Show that to the camera.
There we go.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and you can get this stuff online. Uh, and I'm using some organic mustard. I'm not a mustard Nazi, and I'm not an organic Nazi. But if I can get something cheap and it's organic, I'll probably buy it.
Hmm.
Um, if it's too prohibitively expensive, like for instance, cauliflower has reached this like crazy niche market where organic cauliflower is like $6 a head.
That's crazy. Usually, organic and cheap they don't go together.
Yeah, it's like good, fast, cheap. Pick any two.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to add some trip back home, little Tillamook extra sharp cheddar.
Nice.
Woo. I got
That
some spicy down my throat there.
that is one thing that I will not skimp on. I will not skimp on cheese. There's very few things that I will, the very few things that I refuse to skimp on, and cheese just isn't it. Anything else besides Tillamook and Bandon that I've tried crumbles all over the place and is disgusting. But
So this
Tillamook and Bandon, I just pay the price. It's what I got to do.
this is lunch so far. So I've got my cheddar spam sandwich with the
Nice.
mayonnaise and hot sauce. I'm going to fix up my deviled eggs here.
So what are we looking at as far as calories and sodium and all that stuff? You got a
This
ballpark figure for
probably
that?
going to be this probably. I don't know about sodium. Honestly, I don't worry about sodium because sodium is an electrolyte and it's one of the things that you need because you're an electrical machine. So I really don't worry about sodium. I tend to add a lot of salt to things. I use Himalayan salt now. I used sea salt for a long time. I'm not a salt Nazi either, but I found that many people say, watch your salt, and it's completely unfounded in most cases. I found that everybody was telling my mother-in-law to watch her salt, and then we had her blood work done, and she was actually low on her sodium. So,
Wow.
uh,
Did
you know,
she have a lot of salty stuff?
yeah,
Eat a lot of salty food.
She piles salt on her food. That's no determination of how your sodium levels are going to be,
Uh-huh.
and her blood pressure is totally normal. and her triglycerides are lowering, and her kidney function is starting to come back since we started her on a ketogenic diet. So I'm putting about a half a tablespoon of mayonnaise on each one of these half things. Now, a normal deviled egg, you would take the yolks out, you would mix all this stuff in with it. I'm lazy, so I'm just going to put the mayonnaise right on top of the eggs. I know it's a little bit bright in here for that, but
yeah, it kind of brightened out.
but let's see if I can. I'm just going to put a little drop of mustard on each one.
A little dabble, do ya?
And I'm going to put a little dollop of sriracha on those as well.
A dollop and a dab. What comes next?
Some salt.
And a sprinkle of salt.
And I use coarse black pepper.
And coarse black pepper. A dollop of it.
And if you want, you can put paprika. I love paprika on my deviled eggs. So
Chef John from the what is it called? I love his channel, Chef John from Food. Huh?
It's just food.
No, not that Chef John. The other Chef John.
Food Wishes?
Yes, he loves cayenne on everything.
Oh, yeah. I love Chef John. He's a nice guy, too. He's really sweet. And then my little secret ingredient, my secret weapon for my deviled eggs is I use stevia for a sweetener in some things. I don't use it in coffee because it's vile in coffee, but I put a drop on each one of my deviled eggs, and it is absolutely amazing.
Ooh, Beaker's Laboratory.
And so there are my lazy man's deviled eggs. Let's see if I can get a decent looking shot of the lazy man deviled eggs. And I figure if I took it out, if I took the yolk out and I mixed it up, in the end, it's going to my mouth, and I'm going to chew it up, and it's going to look really bad afterward. Well, tastes the same.
Right, but you could do an ASMR thing, and everybody would watch your channel.
No. ASMR, so wrong. And I wanted to do the Bulletproof coffee too, so I've got my Starbucks cup here.
Starbucks.
So everybody's got their own twist on Bulletproof coffee. The concept of Bulletproof coffee is it's just a shot of fat. It's a whole lot of fat. And
fat in your coffee?
A lot of fat, yeah. So I don't use half and half. I don't put milk in my coffee. It has lactose. I'm not interested in milk sugars, and it doesn't agree with me anyway. But I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of coconut oil in here. That's real popular in coffee in the keto community.
And that doesn't change the flavor of the coffee?
Oh, it does, but it really goes well with coffee.
Oh, okay. Does it sweeten it, or what does it do?
It does. It is a little sweet, and I'm going to add some sweetness to it too. But I'm also using some heavy whipping cream.
Oh, geez.
2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream in my coffee here. And Bulletproof coffee is not necessary for, to stay satisfied on a ketogenic diet. But it is a nice treat every once in a while. I like to add a little salt to my coffee too.
Wow. So how much coffee is in there? What are we talking? Are we talking 6 ounces, 12 ounces?
It's a 20-ounce coffee.
Oh, okay. So it's full 20 ounce in there.
That's a big one. And I'm going to put a couple of
That's what she said.
A couple of Truvia. Truvia is it's a mixture of stevia extract and erythritol. And neither stevia extract, which is a leaf extract, or erythritol, which is a naturally occurring substance that you find in fermenting fruits and in the human gut, happens to be a very effective sweetener. And the combination of it tastes a lot like sugar without having any glycemic index. So you have no effect on blood insulin. And finally, I'm going to add some pumpkin spice here. And I know that I gave you the recipe. If you could copy and paste that, This is just homemade pumpkin spice from ingredients you can get from the store. Probably the hardest one to find is going to be cardamom, but you can find that in some of the markets. And if you want to leave cardamom out, you can. But it is kind of one of those things that makes pumpkin spice taste particularly the way that it does.
And you just gave me the link. You put it in the Skype chat?
I gave you the recipe for it.
In the Skype chat?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just copy and paste that and put it in the description and put it on the website too.
Okay. Cool. And a lot of people, they take this and they put it in a blender or they use an immersion blender or whatever. If you want to do that, great. I'm lazy. Again, if becomes too complicated, I'm not interested.
So you just added all that ingredients to an empty mug. You just brewed a pot of coffee and poured 20 ounces in there.
Right.
Okay.
And I use a mug. The
Oh.
Starbucks mugs I like because they seal up completely. And I can shake it up in the mug. This keeps my life simple. I don't have to.
Of course, the Mighty Mug is the thing to get. The non-spillable mug.
Oh yeah, there's that thing.
That is groovy. I showed that to my wife's friend who came over, and she's going, "Holy crap! I need one of those." I said, "Okay, here's the link."
And this is just decadent. It's wonderful.
Decadent.
My wife just likes 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, and every once in a while, like on a Sunday or something special for church or something, she'll put a tablespoon of coconut oil in there. But I want to get another look at this beautiful spam sandwich.
Lovely. Just
Lovely.
lovely.
Yeah, I got stuff coming off of it. You know how you get those great picturesque shots that they put on the marquees on the side of Burger King to tempt you into buying the triple stack or whatever it is, and it never looks like that when you get it out of the box.
Hence my clipboard of fluff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called the clipboard of fluff, because it's all fluff.
You can see the butter is coming through the top of the bun.
Oh yeah, see it dripping.
I love it.
So where are your dogs? Bryce has a pug and he has like a mini Doberman. Now he had 2 pugs, but one of them passed away recently.
Yeah, Sasha passed on, and we have her ashes in a cedar box on the mantle. And
well, now don't get her mixed up with the paprika or something like that. We don't want any of that. You add a little bit of pug to the recipe.
So that people don't think that I live a life that is just butter and bacon and spam and okay. This muffin is flaxseed and coconut flour. It has or flaxseed or coconut flour. You can use one or the other. The coconut flour recipe for the English muffins actually comes out to be more like a traditional English muffin, especially if you use olive oil with it. But I've been making mine with red palm oil, and because I have a lot of it, and I'm just going to use it.
By the way, Ryan sends his condolences on your pug.
Yeah. Blossom was really heartbroken over it. It really hurt a lot. But the so that people don't think that I'm just all like butter and bacon and spam, and I do like a steak and I love hamburgers without the bun, but I also eat salads. And lately, because my mother-in-law, she doesn't have teeth, so we have to make smoothies. If she wants salad, she can't really chew it. So we've been making smoothies for her so that she will get complete nutrition, because and I know a lot of people that do keto that are 0 carb, and they can do all that without any carbohydrate at all. Kudos. I don't diss that at all, but I think it's really difficult. It's challenging to get complete nutrition. A lot of the electrolytes you need and the different kinds of minerals that you need can be easily found and accessible in vegetables. But a lot of vegetables and almost all fruits are very high glycemic index. So we rule out almost all starchy vegetables, and we rule out all fruits that are very high in sugar and are not nutrient dense.
Hmm.
So, for instance, a banana would be uh, high in potassium. That's what a lot of people go to bananas for. But it's also almost all sugar. So, if I want more potassium, I can go with cauliflower, which has almost no sugar in it. And I can pretty much eat that to my heart's content. Like, very few people would be able to eat a whole head of cauliflower, which would be about the only thing that would really spike your insulin. But you can eat broccoli, cauliflower, nutrient dense stuff. You find a lot of vitamin C in kale and broccoli. You don't have to eat an orange, which is almost all sugar and a little tiny bit of vitamin C. Apples, for instance, yeah, they're good for you if you eat the peel and almost nothing else, because the
Really?
peel is where all the nutrition on an apple is, and the center of it is almost all sugar. It's
That's so weird.
very low nutrition in the rest of the pulp of an apple. The peel has almost all the nutrition and very little of the sugar. But it's not worth the money to go buy an apple and throw away the whole thing except for the peel,
Right.
right?
Right.
So for me, it's all about bang for the buck, right?
Mm.
I'm gonna eat something that's very nutrient dense in the whole thing that's going to fill me up. Strawberries, while they are sweet, are surprisingly low in sugar, really low in sugar. Raspberries, blueberries, even blackberries are relatively low in sugar. But for instance, pineapple is outside of the realm of reality when it comes to, it's like a pancreatic shock.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
well, it has vitamins in it. It has so much sugar in it that a person like me who realizes that the reason why I became overweight was because I became insulin resistant. If I'm insulin resistant, I can't turn back the clock. I know that I'm prone to insulin resistance, so I'm not going to eat things that will make me have more insulin in my bloodstream
Mm.
and thus have more inflammation in my bloodstream. And people say that fat is the enemy, right? Well, dietary fat and cholesterol has never been shown in any single study, not one single study, to ever be the cause of heart disease or atherosclerosis or vascular disorders of any kind. And by the way, stroke is a vascular disorder. And did you know that Alzheimer's is basically type 3 diabetes?
Mm-hmm.
Because as your brain is the one of the only organs that you have that is able to absorb sugar directly without the action of insulin. However, if your brain becomes the equivalent of insulin resistant, it also cannot move the sugar out of the bloodstream into the cells. And as the cells starve, you have Alzheimer's disease. It is the equivalent of insulin resistance, but in the brain. And that's what diabetes is. Diabetes is a symptom of insulin resistance. It in and
So,
of itself is
so
not.
can diabetes be reversed?
Yes, absolutely. And I've seen it several times just in the people that have started following me and listening to me. Dave Rosenboom up in Portland, he's off of his diabetes meds now. Tressie Williams, Wenda Williams' wife, she started doing it, and she is almost completely off of her meds. Now, Dave got off of his meds in 3 months. I've seen people get off of their meds in a matter of weeks. And this I'm talking about injecting insulin. I'm talking about taking metformin to reduce your blood sugar. There's no reason to take things to reduce your blood sugar if you're not increasing your blood sugar. And I dare say it's been said that the insulin manufacturers sponsor the American Diabetes Association into recommending 300 plus grams of carbohydrates per day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been said that that number, that sponsorship, is in the billions and billions of dollars, perhaps hundreds of billions of
I mean,
dollars.
that's what it's all about. I mean, it's all about the Benjamins. It's not about getting people healthy and getting people well. It's about keeping people sick so that they can pay you more.
Well, when my doctor saw my numbers, and he saw that I'd lost 30 pounds in 2 months, and he lost that I lost 300 units off my triglycerides. I asked him, I said, so does that make you think any differently about prescribing statins just off the cuff for people? And he says, no.
Of course
And
not.
I was like, whoa,
Well,
like it
there's
doesn't,
no money to be made in well people.
right.
You
Doctors are
can't make money off well people.
being bought they get kickbacks for
Sure.
prescribing these statins, and people have to, they're told they have to stay on these statins for the rest of their life. I met a lady at Costco who told me, when I wrote down a bunch of information for her, she says, but my doctor says that if I don't do what she says, that that she's going to fire me as her patient. And
Fire.
this, hang on, this is
Bye.
Carson City, where in Carson City, family doctors are hard to find. They're
Oh,
not.
really?
They're few and far between. And so she's like, doctors are really hard to find. It's hard to find a doctor that cares about you at all in
But
this
how
town.
is that even caring about you?
It's not. It's not. It's just, I said, your doctor is an idiot.
So,
And
I mean,
I have done
she's
that.
brainwashed into thinking this lady cares about her instead of just trying to keep her to get the kickbacks and get the income and whatever else.
So my mother-in-law, for instance, she has kidney disease, and so her kidney function was way down there, and so because of that, she can't take over-the-counter pain medications like aspirin or Tylenol, or whatever. And I'm not advocating those things at all. I know that there's downsides to everything that you take, but she has to take certain prescription pain medications because she can't take these other ones because they're bad for her kidneys. And so we went to her nephrologist recently, and we told her about what we were doing with her diet. And they said, "Oh, that's great." And I said, "Well, what we're really hoping is that we'll get her kidney function back up, and that will be, something that she can get off of these hardcore prescription pain meds." And they said, the lady tells me, she's a nephrologist, a kidney doctor. She says, "Well, we never see that. That never happens. We don't see people's kidney function getting better. It only gets worse. Especially at her age, it just gets worse. It continues to get worse." The very next day, her blood work came back, and her kidney function had increased by 16%. She had to apologize for being completely wrong
Did she
about
apologize?
kidney function. Yeah.
Wow.
"I'm sorry, but this is actually what you were looking for. This is the result you were looking for. So, yeah, congratulations."
Well, she
You're
learned something new.
And so, this is something that it's hard. If I can work on the people who are caring for these folks, in this way, if I can change a mind anywhere along the road, I couldn't change my doctor's mind,
Hmm.
but if I can infiltrate, by way of talking to nurses and talking to nephrologists and other things, it's a slow road, but maybe, if she cares enough, she might care better for the next person that she's caring for.
Well, see, that's going to be the bottom line. I mean, the bottom line is, do you care or do you want to make money? What is most important? If you care, then you will say, yeah, I admit it. This this can be reversed. This can be changed. This diet works. Whereas if you're into just making the money, it's just like nothing's going to change your mind. It may actually change your mind, but there's no way you're going to admit it because you're getting the money there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to show you another trick. Um, a lot of people in keto that want to get probiotics for their gut, and I found the way to do that is to buy Greek yogurt, and you want to buy a whole fat yogurt that's made with whole milk, not this 0% or 2%. And what I do is I add about 3.5 ounces of this is a serving. But what I do is I take and I buy this yogurt at the store. I buy the kind that has active cultures. You got to find one Greek yogurt that says it has active cultures.
So is that just plain?
It's just plain, and I'm gonna put it in my blender here for Mama's smoothie. But you can also take a serving of this and just add like a half a tablespoon of like a sugar-free jam, or I made some homemade cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving, and that's even lower sugar than any of these jellies or jams.
Mm-hmm.
And but I take this stuff and I bring it home and I leave it on the counter for a few hours, and people are going to freak out when they hear this, but yogurt is made at room temperature. So by leaving it out on the counter, what happens is those active cultures that went dormant in the refrigerator come back to life, and what they feed on is lactose. And then when you open up your yogurt, you'll find that there's like a liquid on top, and you can
Mm-hmm.
just pour that off in the sink, and the rest of it is almost zero carb because it eliminates almost all the carbohydrates that are normally in yogurt, because it's not normally, I would tell people to stay below 20 grams of carbohydrates in a day, and a serving of this of a cup has 9 grams of carbohydrate, and all of that is milk sugars. So if you get rid of that, and that's without adding any sugar to it, that's just the milk sugars. So if you get rid of most of that by way of allowing those active cultures to wake back up and go back to work, then you have something that has a lot of active cultures in it. I'm going to put about 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise in this. I don't put mayonnaise in mine, but Mama likes the mayonnaise, what the mayonnaise does to the flavor of the smoothie.
I always have the Miracle Whip, the salad dressing. I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like the taste, but I like salad dressing.
And here, I've got some organic strawberries. Strawberries are terrible this season because we're out of season now.
Mm-hmm.
And so the strawberries you get, they're mostly bad. And so I started buying some frozen strawberries, and people will scream in disgust or whatever they want to do, but I'm going to put about 6 medium-sized strawberries in this mix.
I actually like frozen vegetables and frozen fruit.
And they're, these are all good. They're not going bad,
Mm.
and we can eat them fast enough. We buy the big frozen bags out of the frozen food section at
Yeah.
Costco, and we divvy it up into smaller bags
Mm-hmm.
so that we can bring it back into the house.
Yeah, that's what we just use for our Ninja for making smoothies and stuff, and then we just buy bags of frozen vegetables and use that in stir fry.
And then I'm going to show you a really cool trick, because kale is also another one that it's hard to eat it fast enough before it starts to get soggy and stuff. But what I did was I took and I divvied it up into these bags, and each one of these will make like 2 smoothies. It's all squished together, pressed down.
Are
And
those just small freezer bags?
no, they're just sandwich bags
Oh, okay.
inside of a freezer bag. So then I just break off half of this frozen kale out of here and stick it in the smoothie.
Stick it in the smoothie.
Yeah, I mean, it's frozen, but it's going to break up real easy because it's kale.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know we don't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, we've got like 10 minutes.
Right. But then I'm going to add. Mama didn't even know that I started adding these at first, but
Sneaking it in.
I was trying to get her to eat some of these organic eggs. So I take a couple of these boiled organic eggs and add it right into the smoothie.
Doesn't she like eggs?
She's kind of she seems to say that she's just not in the mood for them most of the time. So
man, I can eat boiled eggs
in
forever.
we go. And so she gets a boiled egg. And then what else do I? Yeah, I'm going to put in some romaine. So what I do with the romaine, again, I'm lazy. I'm not going to dissect this thing, but I will just literally cut off like half the head right here. and I just run water through the middle of it, just like through the lettuce, just to wash it off. It's organic, so it shouldn't have any pesticides on it, but people might still use like neem oil or something like that, which is not super pleasant to eat. Just stick that in there.
All this stuff is a far cry from Bryce's kick-ass omelet, I'll tell you.
Right, and that's great too. The
Oh,
omelet,
yeah.
great because it's a great source of very accessible fat, which is super nutritious. Fat is an incredible source of nutrition.
You'd be surprised at how many people are so brainwashed when they comment on that kick-ass omelet video.
I know
They're going,
they
"Oh
fat.
man, you're gonna die. You're gonna kill yourself."
Yeah. They say an unhealthy meal for an unhealthy guy. I saw that comment
Yep.
once.
Yep.
And so then I always comment back and say, hey, you should see me now after years of eating like this.
Yep.
So I'm going to get some water out of the filter here. It's going to get a little noisy, folks. But I've got a DeLonghi food processor blender here, and I love this thing. And then what I do, since Mama was buying these fiber supplements, I got her to quit buying them, and I just put a half a tablespoon or half a teaspoon of psyllium husk, which is essentially what was in those fiber supplements, more than what was in those fiber supplements, and a whole hell of a lot cheaper. And so
Ryan says, "Bring on the noise."
yeah, half a teaspoon of psyllium husk in there, and then I'll add a couple of packets of Truvia.
While you're doing that, why don't you tell us where we can find you?
I am on the BroBryceHealth channel. If you see me in the chat there, I'll type hi. You can click on me, and I have my own channel where I'll be posting stuff. And then I also have a Facebook group where I post a lot of other content. It's BroBryceHealth.info, and you can get directly to the Facebook group from there.
Do you want me to put that in the description too?
You can.
Okay. Send me the link. Well, no, I mean I'm a member of the group,
You
so
know
I'll
how to
just go ahead
type
and
in
pull it off.
BroBryceHealth.info, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put this back up here. Get this out of the way. And it's not going to go anywhere right this second. So I don't have enough water in there. Add some water.
There it goes. Start. Oh, you broke it.
And I'm just pulsing it.
Pulsing it.
Yeah. And then I got this lettuce kind of being a roadblock up here. So sometimes what I do is I do the Belle Biv DeVoe. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down.
What's that?
There we go. There we go. Needs a little more water. Water moves everything.
You lie.
I know. There.
Stir it up. Here, just hit it with a hammer. That solves everything. A
Like
hammer
Bob
and duct
Marley.
tape.
Bob Marley, stir it up. There we go.
Aha. Well, there's a will, there's a way.
So I try to mix it up until it has as little texture as possible.
So it's nice and creamy.
Yeah, and it's
Does
really
that thing? Does it get creamy or just liquidy?
it Well, with psyllium husk has a tendency to make it kind of gel up some,
Uh-huh.
and because it's a bulk forming fiber, and it's also used in
Gel?
some
What,
recipe.
like Jello?
It can, yeah, it
Uh,
can if you add enough of it. I use it some in some of my low carb tortilla recipes, so that or crepes, so that it gives it kind of a flexibility like you would have with dough.
uh-huh.
So it works well with that. And
I'd have
that,
to give it a try because I eat so much by texture. Even if it might taste good, doesn't mean I'm going to eat it. Like I love bananas. I love the banana flavor, but I will never eat a banana simply because of the texture.
well, a half a teaspoon of psyllium husk makes it just creamy.
Okay.
And I typically will add like a whole teaspoon of psyllium husk to mine because I'm not that totally freakish about texture, but it's a nice bright green,
Ooh, green.
and yeah,
It's
I,
radioactive.
I can also add a few tomatoes to
It's
it.
extra swampy flavor.
We we use some cherry tomatoes in limited quantities,
I love cherry tomatoes.
so
I don't know, they taste different than regular sized tomatoes. I don't know if it's just something in here.
yeah, we'll just
Is there something to that?
There is. I think it's because of the proportion of peel to the fruit.
Oh, that could be. Okay.
With
That makes
a
sense.
regular tomato, there's more fruit to it, and the cherry tomatoes typically have a more tart snap to them, usually because there's more peel to it. Add that in there. And see, like normally, Mama would have to peel her tomatoes, but now she's got tomatoes right in there.
Hmm.
So anyway,
And
that's
she's got some secret eggs in there
that's right.
that she didn't know she was getting, you sneaky guy.
I've made her these too, and she loves these,
Oh, okay.
but she doesn't ask for them very often.
Right.
Mm.
Wonderful. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up. It's going on the hour. So visit you over at your YouTube channel. Visit you over at your Facebook page, and at BroBryce.info. You said.
Yes, I'll put that right here.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and add it to the description and put it on the website also. OldNerdReviews.com.
Uh-oh, it won't let me post a web address.
Okay, well just email it to me or
Right.
something. That's
And then
weird.
youtube.com/BroBryceHealth. That's me. And I've also got recipe videos on youtube.com/BroBryceCooks. I try to keep the health talk versus the cooking stuff separate because some people are just interested in the recipes and other people are very interested in the health aspects of eating low carb. Some people just like the recipes.
What I want to see you do more of is your cast iron stuff.
Mm,
This guy has got so many pans of cast iron that he's found at like these cheapy places, and he's cleaned them up. And I mean, they're older than dirt, and he's cleaned them up, and they look so good. Show him that one. I
yeah,
love that one.
this one here is a muffin pan of hot air balloons. This
Isn't
is
that freaking awesome?
a
Look at the
on right.
balloons and the blimp at the top.
Yeah, this was made in 1987, I think, and then this one here is a gingerbread house kit. It's a complete gingerbread house kit. You
That
can
is
make
so
the
cute.
gingerbread house, including the doors and the chimney and the little gingerbread people. And you can put the whole thing together. And I want to make one of these out of fathead dough, which is dough made out of mozzarella cheese and almond flour.
Oh my
And
goodness.
have to add a little molasses to it and some ginger and make a gingerbread recipe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to see more cast iron stuff on the cooking channel. I mean, we've got one cast iron skillet, and we know enough about it to make us dangerous, and that's about it. So we need to learn more. So make cast iron cooking.
I've also got these too. I mean, I've got a video shot of making these chocolate muffins. These are minute muffins. They take about 45 seconds in the microwave once you've
Oh,
got
that's
the.
right. I saw that video. That's cool.
No, like
Okay.
it's a peanut butter muffin video. These are still
Oh.
upcoming.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking of something different. Okay. Well, cool, Bryce. Appreciate so much you joining us today and showing us all your groovy stuff. And we'll have to do this again. This is fun. So visit Bryce over at his website, his Facebook, and his YouTube channel. And I'll have all the links below in the description and also over on oldnerdreviews.com.
Thank you for having me, Tony, and we will see you again real soon.
And thanks, Ryan, for chiming in and talking with us here. Appreciate it, buddy. Okay, you guys have a freaking awesome day. And join me over at my social networks, Old Nerd Reviews, where you too can become a part of the Old Nerd Crony community. And you sure as hell ain't going to eat as healthy as Bryce does with me, but you're going to have some good, tasty food. So when you do kick off, you're going to do it with a smile. Okay, you guys have a freaking good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Bye.